pleased to be joined by college hockey beat writer Brad Schlossman from the Grand Forks Herald. Brad, I appreciate the time you coming on.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
All right, so Brad, you had the pleasure to witness firsthand the run that UND went on last year to win the program's 8th national title. But since then, 5 players have left school early, as well as the seniors not coming back. Is this team poised for another run?
Well, it'll be real interesting to see. They definitely have question marks, especially on the back end with the defensive core. 3 guys that played a lot of minutes for them last year have left, so they'll be shuffling a little bit there. Up front, that big top line did so much for them last year, and they lost 2/3 of that with Drake Kajula being a senior, Nick Schmaltz turning pro. Really a big boost to get Brock Besser back, actually, of that line. And I think everyone's anticipating the arrival of Tyson Jost up front this year. So I like a lot of the pieces they have up front. The D-core is the big question this year, and obviously they have the same 4 goalies back.
Now, you just mentioned it. You preluded to it, Tyson Jost stepping in. Do you think he has what it takes to fill some of those roles? Those were some big names.
Yeah, I always hesitate to, expecting too much out of freshmen, because even highly touted guys who scored tons of goals in the USHL usually come in and find there's a big adjustment period. Brock Besser was definitely an exception to the rule. Tyson Jost, I think what will help him is he's just such an all-around good player. He does everything well. He's not real flashy, but he's so good defensively right now that I don't think that's part of the game that he'll have to adjust to like most young players. So I do think he can come in right away and be an impactful player. Is he going to put up 60 points as a rookie? No, I would be very surprised if he did that.
And you got to see him at the Worlds. I know they were in Grand Forks, so I know you do have some extra insight right there. Now let's talk about the rest of the league. I know we were very North Dakota heavy, rightfully so, but Denver, obviously down in Tampa with UND last year. They didn't lose as much. Obviously, yes, Heinen left, but he was the only big name in my opinion. Can Denver's experience bring them back to the promised land?
Well, I think that's the team everyone's looking at now, because they bring back so many guys, with the Dylan Gambrell and the Trevor Moore coming back on their top line. Getting Will Butcher back on the defensive core is big. They have their goaltender coming back too. So I think Denver's going to be a big favorite. I do think they're going to be a very good team, but I also think this is going to be another year where there are a lot of good teams in the NCHC, and I don't think, last year North Dakota really kind of ended up running away with it at the end of the year. I don't think we'll see that this year.
Now moving right along, and by the way, Jim Montgomery does a fantastic job down there in Denver. Really did turn that program around, because they struggled for a little while after they went back to, back-to-back national championships. But I want to talk about St. Cloud as well. Unfortunately for them, they were the upset of the first round. Ethan Proud, their leader, gone. Charlie Lindgren, gone. Do you think they have the depth to bounce back?
Well, the interesting part, you mentioned Lindgren and Proud, the D-man and the goalie. They lose like their top 6 scorers. So offensively up front, they just lose a huge amount. And the 2 guys you mentioned, Charlie Lindgren's a big loss. Ethan Proud did a lot for them. I actually really like their defensive core still. I think they have a lot of good players there. Dennis Chalowski's coming in, the very first-round draft pick in St. Cloud State history. I think he'll jump in on that D-core right away. Their question marks, obviously, in goal. Replacing Charlie Lindgren's a big one. And I do think they have a lot of forwards who played bottom 6 roles last year who are ready to move up into the top 6. I think that because they were so powerful offensively, some of these guys played, 3rd, 4th line roles when really they could have played top 2 lines. So I do think they'll be all right scoring, but there is going to be an adjustment period there too.
I totally agree with you there. But what about some of these teams, the Duluths, the UNOs, the Miamis? Are any of these guys high on your radar?
Well, I think Duluth is a team to watch. At the end of the year, I thought they were as tough as anyone to beat. They were, about 6 inches away from going to overtime with BC with the Frozen Four berth on the line. So I think Duluth is going to be a force. The big loss for them is Andy Walensky on the back end, because he was so good defensively and just a shutdown D-man. Casimir Kaskasuo in net, another one. They'll have some question marks there, but up front they have so many talented players. And then you're going to bring in a Joey Anderson, who was on the top line of the U.S. Under-18 team last year, really good player. Then you bring in Riley Tufte, a dominant power forward too, and those guys are going to just make that forward group even more deep and dangerous. So I think Duluth is a team that can contend for the NCHC title.
All right, I appreciate the insight, but I'm going to put you on the spot right now. Early pick for the NCHC.
I think Denver's the popular pick. I'm going to go. I'm going to say North Dakota. I think that I've picked them not to win like the last couple of years, and they have won. So maybe I'll finally jump on the bandwagon there. And I like a lot of their pieces. I think that there are 4 teams that are going to compete for it. We talked about all 4 of them, and it's going to be a fun race this year.
All right, I noted that North Dakota, the hometown guy picks the hometown team. So he is Brad Schlossman from the Grand Forks Herald. Brad, I appreciate the time.
Thanks a lot.